Welcome everyone. Today we're going to continue our solving linear systems by substitution. So we're doing 7.2b today. So the first thing we got to do is solve this system using the substitution method. I see that I have y by itself, so I can take 2x plus 5 and I can sub that in for y. So now we have 3x plus 2x plus 5 equals 10. 3x plus 2x, we're going to combine the like terms. So we get 5x plus 5 equals 10. Subtract the 5. So we get 5x equals 5. I only divide by 5. And we get x equals 1. So now we take that x equals 1 and we put it back into our equation. I'm going to put it back into this first equation because we already have what y is solved for. So y equals 2 times 1 plus 5. Well, 2 times 1 is 2 plus 5. So we get y equals 7. So our solution then is x is 1 and y is 7. Here we don't have a variable by itself, so what we're going to do is get the closest one that's closest to being by itself all alone. That is our y here. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 3x. I'm going to make it a different color here. Subtract 3x to get that over to the other side. So we get y equals a negative 3x minus 7. So now that we have y by itself, we know that we can take this negative 3x minus 7 and we can take it and stick it in for y. We're going to substitute it in. So we get negative 2x plus 4 times negative 3x minus 7 equals 0. 4 times negative 3 gives us a negative 12x. And 4 times negative 7 gives us a negative 28. Here we're going to add 28. So we get 28, and we can also combine these two like terms. Negative 2x minus 12x gives us a negative 14x. So if we divide by negative 14, we get x equals a negative 2. So now I'm going to take that negative 2 and I'm going to substitute it in for our x here. So we get y equals 3 or negative 3 times negative 2 minus 7. Negative 3 times negative 2 gives us a positive 6 minus 7. So y equals a negative 1. Our solution then, our x is negative 2 and our y is negative 1. Alright, here we have two equations. Now none of our variables are by themselves, or none of the variables don't have a coefficient on. So what we need to do is we need to figure out one of them to get by itself. Now a 2x or a 2y is going to be easier to get by itself than a 3x and a negative 5y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first equation, 2x plus 2y equals 6. Now because we're used to solving for y, I'm just going to solve this for the y here. Then subtract 2x from both sides. So we get 2y equals a negative 2x plus 6. Finally, to get y by itself, we divide by 2. And we get y equals a negative 1x plus 3. So now we have a variable by itself, and now it's the y. So we can take this negative 1x plus 3 and put it back into our equation for y. So I'm going to substitute that y there for negative 1x plus 3. So we have 3x minus 5 times negative 1x plus 3 equals 25. Negative 5 times 1x gives us positive 5x. Negative 5 times 3 gives us a negative 15. These two can be combined to make 8x minus 15 equals 25. Add 15. And we get 8x equals 40. So we solve for x by dividing by 8. And our x equals 5. Now we can take that 5 and put it into our equation here. So y equals a negative 1 times 5 plus 3. Negative 1 times 5 gives negative 5. Negative 5 plus 3 is a negative 2. So y equals negative 2. And our solution comes out to be 5, negative 2. Alright, this word problem says, during a football game, the parents of the football players sell pretzels and popcorn to raise money for new uniforms. Now they charge $2.50 for a bag of popcorn and $2 for a pretzel. So that's going to be important. $2.50 for popcorn, $2 for a pretzel. The parents collect $336 during the game. They sell twice as many bags of popcorn as pretzels. How many bags of popcorn do they sell? And how many pretzels do they sell? Well, I'm going to make this, because they both start with P, I'm going to make this C for corn and P for pretzels. Now our first equation, we know they charge $2.50 for a bag of popcorn, so that's C, 2.5 C. Now you add that to $2 for a pretzel. That whole thing equals $336. Now we need another equation here. It says they sell twice as many bags of popcorn as pretzels. So if they sell twice as many bags, that's 2 times C. And we know that they sell 2 times more than the pretzels. Oh, I got that a little mixed up here. They sell 2 times as many popcorns. So popcorn, or sorry, this should be C. 2P, so 2 times the pretzels equals C. So now we know that C equals 2P. So we can take this 2P and plug it in for C. So we have 2.5 times 2p plus 2p equals 336. Now 2.5 times 2p gives us 5p plus 2p equals 336. We can combine like terms. 5 plus 2 gives us 7p, and that equals 336. Now if we divide by 7, we get p equals 48. So we know that they sell 48 pretzels. Now we said that they sold twice as many bags of popcorn, so we could put 48 in for p to give us how much they sold in popcorn. 2 times 48 gives us 96. So they sold 96 bags of popcorn. Alright, here we have 4.5x plus 1.5y equals 24, and x minus y equals 4. Now the easiest thing to solve for is going to be y here. Now that's because it's the reason why it's the easiest is I can just add y instead of having to deal with subtracting x and then dividing by -1. So I just get x equals y plus 4. Now we know what x equals, so we can take y plus 4 and plug it in or substitute it for x. So 4.5 times y plus 4 plus 1.5y equals 24. Now 4.5 times y gives us 4.5y. 4.5 times 4 is going to give us 18 plus 1.5y. (4.5) plus 1.5 gives us 6y plus 18 equals 24. Subtract the 18, and we get 6y equals 6. 6 and the y are touching, divide by 6, and y equals 1. So if y equals 1, we can plug in 1 to our easiest equation, which is x equals y plus 4. So we have x equals 1 plus 4, which is actually just x equals 5. So the solution to this system is 5, 1. Alright, this problem has a bunch of weird numbers, or harder numbers to deal with, 5 and 2 and -6 and 3. The easiest thing is to do this bottom one here, so then we don't get run out of room. Now I'm going to get rid of the negatives because I don't like the negatives. So I'm going to add 6x here. So what we have then is 3y equals 6x minus 30. The y is not by itself, so I'm going to divide by 3. and we get y equals 6 divided by 3, which is 2x, negative 30 divided by 3, which is negative 10. So y equals 2x minus 10. Now we're going to take that 2x minus 10, substitute it in for y. So we'll have 5x plus 2 times 2x minus 10 equals 43. Five x plus 4x minus 20 equals 43. So 9x minus 20 equals 43. We're going to add 20. And get 9x equals 63. X equals 7. Alright, so now we have x. We can plug that back into our easiest equation here. Y equals 2 times 7 minus 10. So y equals 14 minus 10. So y equals 4. Our solution is 7, 4. So the first thing we know in this problem is that the length of the hole is 1 centimeter less than the length of the metal sheet. So it says a rectangular hole, so the hole is 3 centimeters wide and x centimeters long is cut. Now it says the length of the hole is 1 centimeter less than the length of the metal sheet. So our hole is going to be x. The length of the hole is 1 centimeter less, so x would be y minus 1. So y is the actual whole sheet of metal. So now we got to come up with a second equation. We know that we're trying to find the area. So a rectangular hole 3 centimeters wide and x centimeters long. If we're trying to find the area of a rectangle, we would take 3 times x plus, we have to find the area of the whole thing. So it would be 4 times y equals the area of the remaining metal sheet is 20 square meters. So we take that 20 and set that equal. So we're going to take y minus 1, plug that in for x. Before we do that, I think I made a mistake here. I forgot that it was a hole, so we need to subtract what's coming out of that. So our whole sheet, or the original sheet, is 4 times y. Now we're taking the big minus the small, because we're cutting out a hole, so we're subtracting 3x, and that's going to equal 20. So now we take this y minus 1 and plug it in for x here. which we get 4y minus 3 times y minus 1 equals 20. So 4y minus 3y plus 3 is going to equal 20. If we distribute this, 4y minus 3y is 1y. And I'm going to subtract 3, which tells me that my y equals 17. Now, the y equals 17, that is the area of our bigger one, our original one. So y equals 17 is the big one. Then we can put that 17 back in here. So we have x equals 17 minus 1, so x equals 16. 16 is the small or the whole. Those are the area of those two sheets of metal. Alright, this one says the area of the room shown is 224 square feet. The perimeter of the room is 64 feet. Find x and y. Alright, first of all, let's find the area. So it looks like we have something cut out here. We know that this is the same length as this, so we know that this is y. Now, if we were trying to find the area, we would do base times height. So we know we're going to have 12 times x plus y. And we're going to add that because we still need to figure out what the area would have been here if we had something there. So, because we actually don't have anything here, we're going to subtract it because there's nothing there anymore. So how we would solve the area of this little square here would be 4 times y. And we said the total area was 224 square feet. So if we distribute the 12, we get 12x plus 12y minus 4y equals 224. Now I see that I have two y's, so I'm going to combine those to get 12x plus 8y equals 224. And that's going to be our first equation. Now we need to find the equation for the perimeter. Now the perimeter is just the length around the room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each side and add them up. So we first start with 8. Then we're going to add y. Then we're going to add x. Then we're going to add 12. We know that this side is also x because it's the same as there. So we're going to add another x. Then we're going to add 4. And we determined that this was y, so we're going to add one last y. And that's going to equal 64. Now I know that's a lot, but we got to combine these now. So if we first combine our numbers, we have 8 plus 12 plus 4. 8 plus 12 is 20, plus 4 is 24. So we know we have 24. Now we can combine our y's. We have 2 y's, so 24 plus 2y plus, we know we have 2 x's, so plus 2x. That's going to equal 64. Now we have our two equations. 12x plus 8y equals 224, And 24 plus 2y plus 2x equals 64. So we have to solve our two system of equations then. We're first going to take this and subtract 24, which is going to give us 2y plus 2x equals 40. Now we need to figure out one to solve for. I'm going to solve for y. So I'm going to subtract 2x and we get 2y equals negative 2x plus 40. I'm going to divide by 2 on everything. So we get y equals a negative 1x plus 20. So now we have a variable by itself. Now we can take this negative 1x and plug it into our other equation to find what y is. So now we're going to have 12x plus 8 times negative 1x plus 20 negative 1x plus 20 equals 224. We need to distribute this 8, so we get negative 8x, and 8 times 20, which is a positive 160. Combine our two like terms. 12 plus negative 8 gives us 4x plus 160 equals 224. Subtract 160. Get 4x equals 84, or 64, sorry. And finally 4 divided by 64, or 64 divided by 4, gives us a positive 16. So x equals 16. So anywhere we see an x is going to be 16. Now one last thing, we need to find what y is. So I'm going to put 16 in for here. Y equals negative 1 times 16 plus 20. So we get y equals a negative 16 plus 20, and y equals 4. So anywhere we see a y, we know it's going to be 4. Alright, that is it for today. Make sure you get your IXL homework done.